What seemed like a bad dream, once again, he flew upon his town. More enemies than ever surrounding him. Welcome to Tilted Town. No building, no breaking. Uh-oh. The man had a gun, but the Flood fought valiantly, trying to bludgeon his enemy, and failed. Let's forget about that game. Didn't happen again. The Flood dropped into the Tilted Town. No building, no breaking were the rules. And he intended to uphold them against those who had less noble intentions. The Flood did concern himself when he realized he had nothing but a hand grenade to his name. What's up, brother? Tried to throw another hand grenade as a shield. God damn it. The bus approached. The Flood jumped. Down to a fate he knew he could not avoid. After what they'd done to his family, to his people, he had to go back. He had to go back. There could be no justice if he did not. And so once more the Flood returned to Tilted Town. The action had already begun. Everywhere he turned, all he could hear was the gunfire. But that did not deter him, for his cause was just. And he was prepared to bring these people, these hooligans, to justice for what they'd done. If only he could aim his weapons. If only he could aim his weapons. Tilted Town was out of control, and only one man could bring justice back to the miscreants and all the wrongs they had done. The Flood was in some trouble. The Flood ran like a yellow-bellied jackrabbit and still died a horrible death. Justice will have to wait for another day.
Okay.
The Flood jumped from the flying locomotive in the sky, diving towards his destiny, once again returning to the town he knew when he grew up, where everything happened, where it all began. Tilted Town. Become a place of ruffians and hooligans, miscreants who would do harm upon others. And once again do harm upon him.
Hey, sometimes the story is dark, you know what I mean? Sometimes the story is dark. I think we gotta do it again. We gotta do it again! I'm not gonna stop. I can't stop. I see it and I want it.
The battle bus once again. On its journey, brought the Flood to his hometown. The town where it all began. The town where they murdered his family. They murdered his friends. And the Flood was back as the only man who could bring justice to Tilted Town. What used to be a perfectly safe village
had been overrun by gangs and malfeasance while he'd been away. And he'd been away too long. The first one was down. He put up no fight. It's as though his guilty conscience wanted him to perish. The flood donned his shield, preparing for yet more. Because he knew he'd only just begun. Cleaning up his town would take more than that. It'd take determination, will, and more importantly, lead. Another one dared to confront the flood and his justice that he knew was righteous and would bring upon. Tilted Town. His town. He could hear them like rats below. The flood moved carefully, knowing there were ne'er-do-wells about. But he was prepared, shotgun in hand. The flood was hurt, but undeterred. He refreshed himself. And prepared himself to do what needed to be done. For they had raised hands. Not just against him, not just against his family, but against his town. And he would not stand for that. The flood would bring justice to this town once again. The flood was unsuccessful. That mysterious woman and her gang took the town. Justice would be another day. The bus from above was blazing across the skies. The flood jumped out because he knew he was close to the town he once made his home. The town that had since turned corrupt. His town. Tilted Town. The flood came through the back door of the saloon, looking for a firearm immediately, knowing he would need to defend himself against all the foolish tomfoolery, the miscreants, the malfeasance that had now overrun the town he loved. That man had the flood's shotgun, and the flood wanted it back. Another one raised hands at the flood and found himself 6 foot under the ground, blood staining the saloon floor. Flood patched himself up. No one. There were footsteps to the left, footsteps to the right. Footsteps all around. People throwing concoctions. Brewed up poisons. Another one down. Another one who dared to push upon him. Raise his hands towards the flood. They were looking for trouble, and the flood was prepared to give it to them. Flood took to the roof. He knew someone else had landed nearby. Taking his perch, he inspected the town, knowing he was not alone, and there were more about. More who would cause trouble and mischief in his town. In fact, another even closer than he'd realized. Flood, throwing one of the concoctions he had found that others had thrown before him, using it to try to smoke out the varmints. The vermin. Walked carefully, slowly, knowing it took only a single bullet to end his just cause. Oh. The flood was caught off guard while busy throwing those newfangled concoctions that had been brought upon him. But he prevailed nonetheless. His shotgun moved swiftly. The man's body hit the ground hard with a thud. The flood patched himself up, preparing for yet another fight. He knew he was not yet done. This town was still dirty, corrupt, craving justice that only the floodwaters could bring. He waited in the stairwell. He took his first shot. He bamboozled his foes, jumping down alongside. It was a risky maneuver, and his knees hurt, but the flood made it work. Once again patching himself up after putting 5 men into the ground. It did not make him happy to do this dark work, but he did what was necessary. Finally thinking he might be time to leave his post in the saloon, the flood took to the streets, where he knew he was vulnerable. But he would not be afraid, for he was here with a sense of justice, to return this town to what it once had been. A good town of hard-working families who deserved to be safe. Like his family before once had been. Before the gangs and the miscreants had come upon it, taken their livelihood, taken their lives. after putting so many men in the ground. Had he done it? Had the flood defended this once just town from those vile enough that they would do harm to the innocents? The flood reloaded his double-barrel shotgun and took to the streets, leaving his beloved Tilted town a safer and better place. Justice had been wrought, and its name was the Flood. And Tilted Town was once again his town.
Hey, we did it, guys. We made it my town again.